So he has over 20 years of investment and trading experience in many areas in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, currencies, you name it. You'll see that when he start talking about it, he's very passionate about talking about those things, that what he does. So one of the things we asked many times, try to see if we can get someone who is in the teaching industry, and also this is something based on the feedback we got. We are able to get Dr. Yasser Samra join us. Some of you may already saw his profile. I just want to make sure that those who is new, they are aware of it. Dr. Yasser Samra has more than 15 years of experience in teaching and trading industry. So he has over 20 years of investment and trading experience in many areas in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, currencies, you name it. You'll see that when he start talking about it, he's very passionate about talking about those things, that what he does. So one of the things we asked many times, try to see if we can get someone who is in the teaching industry, and also this is something based on the feedback we got from our stock class that we offered about a month ago or month and a half ago, end of January. So I am very happy that Yasser joined us and he wanted to share his wisdom with you, and I'll take it away, Yasser. At the end, let me know if there is anything. Meanwhile, please, if you do not speak, you can keep your microphone mute. You'll see on your right side, whatever device you use, your phone or your computer, you'll see the microphone. So we mute most of the lines, that way at least you do not hear the background noise. But would love to make this session interactive. That way it's more everyone kind of participate. But take it away, yes, sir.
Oh, well, thank you. And I just turned off my phone as well. Thank you very much for that nice introduction, Mushi. As you guys know, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm a registered fiduciary, and that means I'm an investment advisor. It's been a marathon. It's been quite a journey that I've been, with investments. I started investing when I was very, very young. I started, I guess, when I was 6, if you really want to be technical about it. I told my dad to buy me some gold and silver. And ever since then, here I am almost 40 years later, and I'm still in the game. So that's a very good thing. So anyway, so what I'll do, I guess I can share my screen with you guys, and let's see what we can do. So here's one thing. So let's go with this. So here's the thing that I think is critical. So it's really why invest at all, and I think that's really important. That's a question we're trying to answer throughout all of our lives. And I think it's a very important question because we're all investing, whether we like it or not. We're always looking to see how we can increase our wealth. But what I don't want people to really get out of this is that, what stocks do you want to buy? I mean, that's not what I'm about. I'm about how do you improve your wealth. And in order to do that, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I don't know if you could see this or not, but we can look at it like here. How about that? So my investment experience, I mean, I grew up in the Middle East, and I just wanted to know about gold and oil. And so I was just into that. And in my teens, I was into some stocks, mainly mutual funds and some bonds, some government bonds. Not U.S. bonds, but, municipal bonds or state bonds. And, when I finished college, I got into stocks. And some stocks I did well with, and other stocks I didn't do well with. But the most important thing to think about is, are you still here? And if you're still here, you're able to play the game. Nowadays, I really focus on futures, and I've invested also in private equity. And private equity can be risky, but we'll get into that maybe a little bit later on. Now, the thing to keep in mind, though, is that investing is a lot different than trading. When I've traded stocks. I want to get in and out, and that requires a particular psychology or mindset. And I've been in currencies as well, mainly euros, dollars, yens, maybe the Mexican peso, the British pound, Australian dollars, and New Zealand dollars, and sometimes Canadian dollars. All right, so mainly stable currencies, with the exception of the Mexican peso. All righty, so I've been teaching in my lifetime, just to tell you, I've been teaching since grad school. I finished my bachelor's at, guess what, 22, and a master's at 23, and I just got into teaching since then. I've taught mathematics because pretty much that's what engineers do. They can teach math, and you know, that's what I got into. Alrighty. So anyway, with that said, let me tell you a little bit about investing. Again, it is a marathon. It is not a sprint. It is not, let me buy Tesla today and hope that it will skyrocket. That's not what we're looking to do here. I've tried many different ventures and I've lost several times. I will tell you that it is not easy, but you keep on learning, all right? And you have to keep on learning, because although you'll make the most money, most likely you'll make your most money from your full-time job. The issue is you still have to take risks, because you cannot keep working your full-time job forever, all right? May God give you that health, but it's a fact of life that you won't have the same energy when you're 80 as you did when you were in your 20s. So
Yes, sir, we lost you. Yes, sir.
generally,
Yes, sir, we lost you for a few seconds.
oh no, I just said it's unstable. Can you guys hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, good, good. So core CPI, which is a nice measure of inflation, especially if you're from where I'm in New Jersey, it's about 2%. And my salary does not go up after taxes by 2%. So it tells me that I have to take some kind of risks. Because if I want to get wealthy, I have to take some kind of risk. Leaving my money under the mattress does not do anything for me. Leaving my money in the bank does not do anything for me. So the quote that I have there, if you see in the middle of that slide, if you want to be wealthy, you have to take risks but lead a stable life. You can look up who Tom O'Malley is, but Tom O'Malley is just a household name in the oil industry. And he pretty much took companies and made his billions off of trading oil futures. Now, back then, it might have been a little bit easier. Today, you have a lot of computers that do the trading for people, all right? But that doesn't mean that you avoid investing altogether. So what we're trying to do here, what Mushi and I are trying to do here, what I've done also in the past is I've tried to teach people how to get into the right mindset of investing. How do they get to the point where they can take risks? Now, can you lose? Absolutely. But can you also win? And that's the key. So it's the same thing like in baseball. When you really think about baseball, you know, a hitter is only successful 30% of the time. Really not much more than 30% of the time. And they make millions. So they do take those risks. They fail 70% of the time, roughly. And that can happen with investing. I usually don't have that many stocks, except maybe for my 403B plan. I have one stock maybe left, and I've lost thousands of dollars in it. I've also been in stocks where I've made thousands of dollars. So the important thing is that I know what the stock market is used for. I know what the futures market is used for. I know what private equity is to be used for. And hopefully you guys will get that. Well, you'll get a taste of it today. Now, here's something I want you to think about. I want you to think about what is the best investment that you've ever been in. What is the best investment? Take a moment and think about that. What is the best investment you've ever been in? Not a trade, an investment. Take a moment. Let's see if somebody actually chimes in. Anyone?
You can unmute
What
your
was your
line.
best investment?
You can unmute your line and you want to chime in. Yeah, please do chime in.
All right.
My education.
All right. And how many years did you spend in your education? Well, education is certainly one. All right. And you probably spent at least, I would say, probably 15 years for your education, if not more.
Yeah, approximately 14, 15 years.
14, 15 years. All right. That's pretty substantial. That's a good one. I was hoping somebody would say that. All right. So think about that commitment level that you made to yourself when it came to education. So what was your major, if you don't mind my asking?
Microbiology?
Microbiology. And do you work now currently as a microbiologist?
No,
Oh, no. Why not?
I'm in IT now.
Okay. So, but the point is you took the risk to learn something. And even though you don't work with it anymore, are you still better for it?
I hope so, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
That's an
definitely,
interesting thing. All right. I'll tell you about my best investment. My best investment was my wife. All right. When I look at my wife, we've been married for about 15 years and we dated for about 7 years prior to that. So, all right, since I pretty much finished college, I've known my wife. That is probably the longest investment. But when I look at it, all right, it's an investment and I have 2 children from her and that's great. And I know what she likes. She knows what I like. I know what she doesn't like. She knows what I don't like. And so it's a commitment. And so an investment requires a commitment, just like your education, just like any kind of relationship. So when you're thinking about investing in any kind of stocks, any kind of securities, or any kind of bonds, or any kind of mutual funds, know this and know this full well. It is a commitment. You're hoping that the end result is that you are better for this commitment. So just like you're with your education, you're hoping that you're better for it. I hope that I'm better off being married. And even in some cases for those people who do decide to split up, you know, you're committed to leaving and you're hoping, you're taking the risk that that separation would lead to a better life. So I'm trying to get you in the mindset to take those kinds of risks where you're not really worried about or as worried about losing. Most people are afraid to lose. Most people would rather not lose than gain. All right. And that's why a lot of people do trade, because they get in and they get out quickly. So when we're talking about investments, know your risk tolerance level. So, I mean, for example, house flipping. A lot of people want to do house flips, and that's great. But think about it now. You know yourself better than anyone else. No one is going to give you as good advice as you will for yourself. If you're going to buy a house, there is a carrying cost, right? Think about all the things that you have to pay for when you buy that house. Generally, there's a mortgage. There are property taxes. Right? There's some sewage that you have, sewage bills and water bills, even if you don't live in the place. It's not easy to buy. It's not easy to fix. You have to have the right network, and you may be waiting too long before you can actually sell it. So there's risk in that. What about being a landlord? A lot of people tell me that they want to buy a duplex, live in one place, and rent out the other. Great. There's also risk in that too, because you might have the worst tenants. The tenants from hell themselves will ruin your entire place, and it might cost you more to do what? To fix it, right? And rent it out than the income you generated. And trading stocks, well, that's not easy either. If you look at any kind of trade, if you look at a ladder, we can look at a ladder later on, but there's only 2 directions that a stock can go. It can go up or it can go down. It's very rare that it stays right where it's at for the whole entire day. right? But it is liquid, so you can get in and out of it quickly, even if you're losing. With a house, maybe not so much. So you're noticing that each asset class has some positives, but also has some negatives. Now, of course, we get to saving instruments next. Now, you can put your money into government bonds and to CDs, but that is an almost guaranteed loss due to, again, to inflation. Unless you're getting more than 2% after taxes, you're going to essentially be losing money. You're going to be losing purchasing power from it. Currencies are very risky, and there are margin accounts associated with trading currencies and trading futures. Margin accounts, we can get into that a little bit later on, but they're extremely risky. It's like buying a house and you're only putting down 5 or 20%. If you're putting down only 5 to 20%, you still have at least 80% left to cover. And, you know, heaven help you if something bad happens to you. So it's like trading on margin. And like I said, last but not least, you also have private equity. I'm currently in my, I want to say my fifth private equity deal. And I will tell you, out of the 5 of them, 1 of them is absolutely miserable. And the other 4 are doing pretty well. Alrighty? Can it be the other way around? Absolutely. But I have to take the risks because I know doing nothing will ultimately end in a loss for me. All right. So one of the things I want you to also know is that I want you to be able to make your own decisions. I've stated this before, and I'll state this again. You yourself, you know what's best for you. You really do. So professionals can give you some advice, but it's really up to you to take the risk and to make the decision. All right? If you're looking to retire, for example, then one of the best things you can do is set up an IRA and maybe avoid the taxes now and pay them later on. Right? You have to consider your own situation. Do you have loved ones, for example? There are life insurance plans out there. I like to have a little life insurance for myself because I realize, okay, I'm either going to drop dead and my family's going to get the money, or I just keep paying the premium, and that's okay. I know that I am guaranteed to die. That is one thing that I know full well. All right. The third thing that you want to consider, are you looking for steady passive income? You might want to look at dividend-paying stocks that are defensive. And by defensive, we don't mean, you know, Boeing or Lockheed Martin or something like that. Defensive stocks really are securities that are insulated from turmoil in the markets. So, for example, energy stocks, they're considered defensive. Water stocks, they're considered defensive. People need water. People need energy. All right, that's always going to happen. Telecommunications, for example, people still need to make phone calls. So those are considered defensive. They're kind of insulated from the volatilities or the fluctuations of a market. Then you have to look at how much time do you have? Do you have disposable funds? Can you afford to risk a lot? And the most important thing from this slide is this thing right here. This next one, is your cash flow currently positive? The most important thing here in the United States of America when it comes to financial wealth is positive cash flow. Let's say if you have $100,000 in cash, well, that's great. But if your bills over the next 5 years are going to be $200,000, well, you're going to be poor. You're going to go broke. So what's more important is to make sure that you have a cash flow of, let's say, $75,000 or $80,000 a year. You should be able to pay off those $200,000 worth of bills that you would accumulate over the next 5 years, right? Other things to consider are, can you take some major risks? Right? If you can take some major risks that are illiquid, maybe you would invest in private equity. Private equity provides you with greater returns, But again, they're illiquid. They're not, you do not have the protection that that the government regulations provide for the public, right? Last but not least, this is a personal favorite of mine, would be, are your math skills on par? So I was just mentioning this earlier to someone that I chat with. Trading options, oh my goodness, trading options happens to be the hardest money that I've ever easily made in my lifetime, right? Have I lost? Sure, definitely. But if I understand probabilities, and I know I do teach statistics from time to time, then I just trade options. And I trade options on oil in particular. All right, so now I want to kind of wrap it up because we have about 5 minutes, but I want to show you some things that I like to do. But also, I wanted to let you guys know that on March 16th, I'll be talking a lot longer, for about 3 hours. And I want you guys to get some kind of specifics out of this on the 16th. So this time, I just wanted to give you some overview and some reasons why you should get into investing. And again, this is not to promise you that you will make money or anything like that, but it's really, sorry, that's my Thinkorswim in the background. But it's really about you taking responsibility for your own financial wealth. Because really, at the end of the day, you can only blame yourself for not taking the risk. All right. So I'll talk about, tradable securities, mainly defensive stocks, dividends, a little bit about options. I'm going to keep it very brief to call options, and you could read up on it if you'd like. I'll talk about the differences between government bonds and corporate bonds and what those ratings mean. Right. And last but not least, I'll also talk about 3 courses that I've been teaching. Some are on investing in various different asset classes. So we just talked about a few of them today, mainly just options and maybe securities. But also I have a course that it's a full-blown course on decision making, on how do you get yourself to think rationally, to get into the right psychology of trading and making the right decisions, right, when it comes to your wealth. And last but not least, I do have an options trading course itself, all right, that I like to teach as well. For options, that's a little bit more advanced, but it's a nice tight group of people that I've taught to, and the people who still keep trading options, those guys are usually friends for life. So on that note, I think it's almost 8 o'clock. So yeah, it's about 7:57. I could show you some of the things that I do. So for example, I was talking with someone earlier. I don't know if you can see this. You can let me know if you guys can see this or not. But let's see. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sir. We do not see what you are showing, but same time, let's see if people want to jump in, ask any question. So far, yes, sir, covered. And any question that when he's talking about on March 6th, some of you may already know that March 6th we are going to have the similar stock class what we have done in Princeton area, New Jersey in January. So this is based on the feedback we got from students to say, hey, can we have one course just full-blown stock trading and technical analysis and some of this. That's what he's talking about, that this March 6th, his first class is going to be.
This will be on the 16th because today is March 6th.
I'm sorry. Yep, you're right. Now we are keeping,
that's okay.
We are keeping each other honest, right? March 16th.
That's fine.
In Manhattan. So the class is going to be in person, and also if people can join from the remote. We tried this earlier, so it worked out for us. Go ahead. Anyone wants to chime in, ask any question while Yasser showing his trading?
Well, I can show you what I was just talking about a little bit earlier, but please, by all means, please, if somebody has a question, by all means. I don't want to talk forever. I'm sure you guys will get fed up with my talking forever. All right. Well, I guess I could show you something if you'd like. All right, let's see. How about this? I'll show you what I do. So for example, this is a platform that I use. So you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone? Okay, cool. So what I like to do is when I'm looking at anything, like this is Tesla, for example, I'll give you one thing that I like to look at. I like to look at support and resistance. Almost everyone likes to look at support and resistance. People will tell you they have the greatest technique ever, but really it's all about psychology. So let me take these bubbles off so you guys can just take a look at what I call a naked screen. All right, so if I can just erase this. Here we go. So this is a completely naked screen right here. There is nothing on here whatsoever. All right. This is just completely naked. And whoops. So we've got some people chatting away. So I'm going to let Mushi take care of that. But for me, I'll just let you know that if I'm looking at Tesla, people ask me, all right, Tesla, what do you think? Which way is Tesla going to go? You know what? I don't care. Why? Because I like to trade options on this. I want to take some kind of bet, if you will, for lack of a better word, on where is Tesla going to stay. So I want a 90% chance of Tesla staying within a certain region over the next month. All righty. So if I'm looking at this chart right now, what can I say about this chart? I can say that, when I'm looking at this chart, this is the price action for Tesla since here. This is since 2014. I'm going to say the following. I see this, if I can put this over here. Sorry, let's, well, let me see if I can, there we go. There we go. I'm going to say that I'm going to put a bubble here. Sorry, guys. I'm going to put a bubble right here. Okay, I'm not sure why this isn't working. All right. Is it because Zoom is on? I don't know. All right. So that's a bubble. This kind of tells me that, all right, for a long time, Tesla was trading between just about 150, a little less than 150. All righty. And traded all the way up to almost 300. Didn't quite go up to 300 for a long period of time. Then it finally broke out. All right. Once it broke out, now take a look. I've got another area. Right there. Shoot. This isn't good. Let's try to do this one more time. Come on. Oh, there we go. All right. It's not as pretty as I'd like it to be, but you get the idea. There are two areas or two pools that the price for Tesla had been living in. So there was this pool, this very first circle on the left, the bottom left, and then it broke out and it made the second circle. So it's staying under 400 and it's staying just around 250. So between 250 and 400. So maybe what I would like to do is say to myself, okay, if I think Tesla is going to go back up, that's fine. But I have to know myself. Remember, investing in securities is a lot like any kind of relationship that you're in. If you're in a relationship that you don't find very promising, what are you going to do? You're going to end it. If you're going to do that in your personal life, the markets, newsflash, the markets don't care about you, all right? So if you bought something and it's going down and down, let's say if Tesla's going all the way back down to 50, I really hope that you did not buy at 276 and rode it all the way down to 50 in the hopes that it will come back up to 276. The reason for this is because you have funds at your disposal that you can use in other opportunities. So for example, I know this from my own personal experience. I lost thousands of dollars on one particular security. I will never invest in them again for various reasons, but I won't invest in them. And I feel terribly about this because I was hoping that they would go back up. This was years ago, and I've learned from it. But I've missed out on so many opportunities just waiting for the security to come back up and to break even. So in the decision-making course that I do teach, that one is based on a lot of research that comes out of behavioral finance. And it comes from a lot of people who are really well known in their field. Let's say Nobel Prize winner Thaler or Kahneman. I also have other professors that I like to use their work with permission, of course. That kind of gets you to think a little bit differently than the average person. So on that note, that's just one thing that I look for in Tesla. I also look at futures as well. And so let me show you something that I do with futures. People who know me know that I love to look at oil. So let me take a look here. If I'm going to look at something called an hourly chart, well, you know what? Let's look at a daily chart. Here we go. Oil for this past month has been extremely range bound. So if you take a look at this bar over here, oil has essentially stayed just above $54.50. I just have an alert right there for me. I just want to know if it ever goes below that, but that's just for me. And I noticed that oil never went above $58. So this entire month for this particular futures contract, and again, we'll talk about what futures contracts are at a later date. I do not want to overwhelm you because it's just not fair. Think about it in terms of going to the gym. You're not going to go to someone and ask them, hey, which machine is going to help me burn the most fat? And I'm going to go there and just do that one and hope that I'll lose weight just after one time of doing it. That's absurd. So trading is the same way. Investing is the same way. I can't tell you start trading oil and you're going to be a winner. If I do that, that is the worst piece of advice I could possibly give anyone. So really, I want to ease people into it. I want, just like going to the gym, you don't just go to the gym and then just start, maxing out your heart rate. Same thing here. You don't get into the investment world by, putting in all your assets into one particular investment. All right. So when I'm looking at oil, I'm looking at here, this is a nice range, and there are about 9 days left until this month's contract ends. And I'm going to say to myself that it doesn't seem likely. It can happen, but it doesn't seem likely that this will go below $54.50, nor will it go above $58. But again, we have 9 days left. So that's another thing. That's, again, with decision making. And, there's a little bit of statistics involved in that as well. All right. Okay. So on that note, I'll yield the floor to anybody who's got any kind of questions or anything like that. So we've got about 20 minutes left. So by all means, feel free to chime in and ask away. Ready? Okay. Any questions over there? Whoops. Oh no, I lost it. Oh, you know what? It's my skill set that's off here when it comes to, let's see if I can get this right. Let's see, anybody chatting away? All right, any questions?
Yeah, sir. While you are fixing it, I want to make sure people have the information, what I shared in the chat line. So everyone, if you can take a look at that website I shared, is speakeq.com. On the speakeq.com, when you go there at the very top, you're going to see there are two things. That day we are going to have in the morning, if you look at the top one, no experience required is stock trading, investing. If you click on that package, in that package, you are going to see that it talks about this location in New York where we are going to have the class. That class is going to be that weekend, March 16th. Morning part is going to be stock trading. That's that class in the 9 till 12, what he is talking about it. And in the afternoon, same day, being part of the package, you're going to get the real estate class also. If those who wants to learn something about real estate, that you'll see the third one, real estate investment strategy. That day afternoon, we'll see that's a different instructor. So each class, whenever you click on the website, actually, let me see. Yes, sir. I'm going to, if you can stop sharing.
Sure.
And let me share my desktop that I want to walk through to the people to
Stop video.
Yep, they understand what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Okay, yep, you did. Yep. Do you see my desktop?
There you go.
Yep.
I can see it. Yeah.
So everyone is just when you come to that speakeq.com, you're going to see this screen. There is 2 classes, feature item and the real estate. So that day we're going to cover, especially on March 16, we know a lot of people asked us if they can learn real estate. So we have a couple other real estate investors and entrepreneurs, and they love teaching. So we reached out to them. Why don't let's see how that goes. So that's going to be explained. The day is this afternoon. When you go click on this package, what you say, you'll see that here it looks into the date, and the time is, do not get confused with start date and end time. This covers like those 12 sessions we are talking about that. But you do not have to worry about if you do not enroll all 12 sessions. If you want to enroll only one day, you have intro to investing, that class. If you click on here, you see go to class. I'm going to click on this. You'll see that it's going to bring you a screen like that class, March, Saturday, 9 till 1 o'clock. And the class details, it also shows here, this is the class. So it gives some details, session 1, session 2, and the exercise. We added some level of details. And then at the bottom, you can see that Yasser background. Anybody want to see his profile. Yep, there he is, and then his profile he can read his. But let's say, for example, if you want to sign up for this class, you're going to click on a card and click here to view card. And I shared with you that coupon that you only for today is going to be applied within 24 hours. So apply that coupon, then whatever discount I shared with you, that you can get them. Okay. So this way, at least you will get some of this discount. And meantime, we want to make sure we encourage people. You stayed here till an end and be impatient. You didn't drop out like some other people. They'll lose out, right? And the proceeds after profits and after paying our expense, as you know, that Manhattan place is not like free or any of these. So some of these proceeds we are going to share with the nonprofit organization that I shared with you earlier. So it's open to anybody, any question. And that afternoon is going to be, class is going to be about the real estate. And if you see the real estate class also and there, and real estate investment, and somebody wants to get into to know what it is, and at the beginning, and instructor, same thing here, details. So we may have more than one instructor that day coming in also. We're in the process of getting them. Any questions?
Alrighty. Oh, what program do you recommend for those who are new to investing? And I mean completely fresh, wet behind the ears new. All right. So I think one of the classes that I'd like is I would recommend would be the one that has 12 sessions of the different asset classes that one can invest in. So if you work full time, what I'll try and do is actually teach them online like this, but at least each one, it will be an hour long and it will be dedicated towards that one asset class. So if we're going to have, let's say, a session on investing in life insurance, for example, so that would be a whole hour based on life insurance. If you wanted to talk about investing in corporate bonds or municipal bonds or government bonds, then there would be a full hour. That would be another session from the 12. Another one would be, let's say, investing in private equity, and I can tell you about the things that I've been into, and that would be, that would take about an hour's time. Unfortunately, I do say an hour, but then the questions and answers afterwards kind of get us up to 2 hours, but that's okay. What else? So that's the session that I would recommend, and you'd be able to at least have a clue about the various different asset classes that are available to you to invest in. Hopefully that answered your question. Who was it? Faisal.
Yeah, like what Yasser said, yes, right. It's not everyone is an investment you're making to your own knowledge. No one can be overnight, just come in a class, 2 hours, 3 hours, do this. So part of this also what you get out of the class, you saw in the email, in an email that I shared with all of you, that there will be in the internal, all the students will be there. Yasser is going to be available, answer any question. And like Yasser, we have other teachers like within our network that they will be also part of those network. So you are not only getting just like only one access to one teacher, you will have access to our resources. So this is the relationship we are going to be making ongoing, and we'll guide you as with the pace of learning that you are going to be able to absorb.
Okay. And there's another question from Imran. Would you be recording these sessions, and if we miss and want to review it later, would that be available? As long as everyone is okay with things being recorded. I mean, when I teach classes, some people don't want their questions to be recorded, and I have to respect that, their privacy as well. But I will say that when it comes to this, unfortunately, reviewing things, it's not the same. You could watch a bunch of YouTube videos. And
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. If I may, I think some of the thing, I agree with you, because it's a fiduciary, and some of the thing we have to keep it within knowing that how much we can share with the recording. But as far as the main lecture and some of the things, what I think Imran and other people are saying, if they're missing it, can they grab it? Can they watch the recording? We know that we are going to have people also coming from webinar, right? So we will record it so that you are going to have edited version of the recording. That's all I want to share.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
Because I got to be respectful for the students who are in there live. But to be honest with you, though, you won't get as much reviewing it as much as you would live. But that's just the same thing in any kind of class. I took calculus in college, well, in high school and college, and I learned more there than I would from videos. I do know people who've taken calculus online, and they don't know what they're doing. But that's okay. There are people who've done really well in online classes and just watching videos. So, to each his own or her own, and that's fine. But for privacy issues, of course, myself, it doesn't matter to me if someone records me. I don't have a problem with that. But I just want to be respectful of the people who have questions in the class, in the live class. That's all. Hopefully I answered your question, Imran. But thank you for it.
And those also who is thinking that, hey, I wanna learn the stock trading and see how to get involved with it, or let's say even real estate. Like Yasser mentioned at the beginning, you have to invest time in all the risk analysis, and how are you going to figure out when to take at what level of risk, right? So this class is going to teach you those those skills does not come from book, or it all come from the life experience. So you will see time to time we'll bring guest speakers also coming in each classes, share, okay, your background, you have been doing trading for 15 years, 20 years. So based on students, type of students we get, we will bring that level of skills also in the classroom.
And there's something very important to mention as well. Anytime I teach these kinds of classes, it is a judgment-free zone. So if you win or if you lose, I don't care. And I'm happy for you when you win, but if you win based on luck, that really doesn't make me proud or anything like that. I want to make sure that you can understand what went wrong if you make a particular decision. And it went south on you and ended up poorly for you. And I also want to know what you did right, because I like to learn from my students. I always tell my students that. So I don't know everything, and learning is a lifelong process. So it's a judgment-free zone anytime you are taking a class with me. So know that at least. Let's see, we have another question. Oh, so the 12-week course, in that particular one, no, the 12-week one is going to be on the actual, the asset classes. So the question we had earlier from Faisal on something that is brand spanking new to someone, that's what the 12-week course or the 12-session course would be. I mean, depending on everyone's schedule, maybe, people tend to fall off, let's say, after 8 weeks or so. I know teaching at college, I know my students were full of energy, tend to run out of steam right around 12 weeks. So maybe we'd make it in about 8 weeks, and maybe sometimes we'd have 2 sessions in 1 week. There is another session another course that would just be on options trading. And there's another one that would be just on securities trading. So for options trading, it has a different kind of mentality, because even when you're wrong, you can still be right. With securities trading, it could be securities or futures trading. You can probably put them in the same group. That you're either right or you're wrong. So I tend to use technical strategies rather than fundamental strategies for trading. Fundamental strategies I like to look for investing, but we can talk about that at a later time, because when you're looking at fundamentals usually get reported once a quarter. And so those numbers won't change for the next 3 months. So you can use those fundamental strategies for an investment, not necessarily, at least I'm of the opinion that fundamental analysis doesn't really work well around trading. But yeah, and technical strategies, definitely yes. I'm more interested in courses around technical strategies and options trading and securities trading. Will it be launched soon? Depending on how many people we would have for the course, and depending on how many people would want one particular course or the other. After all, I'm only one person, and so I'd have to look and see when I could teach each course. Next question. So, Sayed, so hopefully I answered your question. And then we have another one from Faisal. Is the real estate course part of the 12-week course, or are they different courses? So the real estate course, the one on the 16th, is that the one you're referring to in the afternoon?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, yeah, I believe that's what he's referring to. That's
Okay.
that if somebody wants to individually register that one also, you can see that it has like something like $10 or something, you put in a very low. But whole key is like we want to see how many people have interest. If there is enough interest, then we can always think of having something more broader version of real estate investment classes. But for now, we're thinking of the investment strategy, but the real estate something is in the pipeline. So that class, either you can just sign up individually if you want, if not, you can just sign up part of that $100. I think that day class is included on the both. So we are giving bonus people who just want to just check out for one day, and you can see for one day, even though $100 we put in there, as you can see that you are going to get 2 classes in there, and those are like 9 till 4 or 5, whatever time it takes. So at least hopefully that will answer your question that is this included. And if we see that enough people have interest to learn more, go more deeper in real estate side, whole REIT, how it's strategy in REIT, in residential side, in commercial side, in construction side, we'll be happy to offer something like that right after that class.
I'm very flexible, and it's really what the customer is interested in. But I'm in the business of education. That's my primary field. So it's for me. I just like to show you what I've learned at the very least, and hopefully you'll gain something out of it. I hope you gained something out of it today.
I did gain it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
This is Waqar. Thank you.
Oh, Waqar. Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Yeah, some of you may already know who is Waqar. People like Waqar has been also doing it many years, this for trading and having his job and on the side creating good cash flow. So they will be coming and also sharing in some of those classes, either in person class or online, and share their lifelong lesson that you do not usually learn from the book.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Oh, there's one other question.
We have on the
line.
line, we have Javed also. I saw earlier. I'm not sure if he's still online, but
Oh, Javed Sadiq. Oh, that's my mentor.
yes.
I don't know if he's still on.
Yeah, I saw him earlier.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here. That was good.
Hi.
Very helpful.
Oh, thank you. So Javed is my guru,
Right.
ladies and gentlemen.
So,
So if you ever get the chance, if we can rope him in to speak, I've learned from him, from knowing him from about 4 years, and I've learned a tremendous amount in the 4 years. That too is an investment, isn't it? So an investment in a relationship. I didn't think 4 years ago that I would be teaching investments, but here I am. So thank you, Javed, for that. I think we lost him. Oh, he's too modest. He won't say you're welcome.
no, yes. Any other questions?
There are a few. So, all right. Can I register for all the 12 courses on the website? Did not see an option for that.
Yeah, I just shared that link.
Oh, okay.
So those who if you use that link, it's going to let you it's going to include it all 12 sessions. In the website, you may not see all 12 weeks we laid out. The reason because Yasser is trying to figure out how many students is going to come in and from which reason everyone is coming in. Sometimes he can cover 2 modules in 1 week, or sometimes he's going to go individual based on the time. For now, the time he's tentatively thinking of Friday evening and then Saturday, those 2 days, based on everybody's availability. So hopefully that will accommodate, and then after the real specific time is going to put what time. So but as far as on the website, I think you might see that we put around 6 or 7 weeks in there. But whenever you're purchasing the package, you are getting all the 12 modules that he was talking about.
There you go.
That's a good question.
All right.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? We have about a couple of minutes left. And,
Hey, I have a question as well as some feedback from
okay.
not regarding today's class, but feedback to folks who in the recent past reach out to me. So feedback is there is enormous amount of interest from folks on JAM on and off trading options. And this is Waqar. I keep telling people that, hey, don't just go in and start trading options, because it's dangerous from my perspective, because I've been doing it for a long time and I have seen how quickly you can evaporate or lose all that money. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know what is the right way for folks to understand that. It sounds attractive. You know, I post few trades here and there. It looks really attractive. Oh, you know, free money, free grocery, whatever it is. But it's not free. You know, so that's what I'm trying to inculcate people. But you know, definitely there is a huge interest. That's what I see from folks, because it seems like people want to understand how to trade it, what is the way to do it, and things like that. So that's what lately I have been getting a lot of messages from folks.
Well, that's excellent. Well, that actually helps. I have a whole course that's developed specifically for trading options, and it's really for people who have absolutely no idea about what the heck options are. And I like to, I mean, I don't know, for everyone who's been here, you can pretty much figure out that I mentioned this earlier, I like to teach by analogies. So I don't want you to just jump into trading options, but we'll talk about probabilities first, and you know, the likelihood of gains and what happens when you lose. So when we take it from that perspective, then you kind of have a nice foundation, and you've actually used this in your life, in your lives. Then we can actually apply it to a particular instrument like options. So Waqar, I guess you were the one I was texting earlier. So it's nice to finally hear your voice. So, ladies and gentlemen, so Waqar and I have been talking about options and securities and trades and so forth. And yeah, it's great that I finally get to hear his voice, because it's really nice to hear your voice, to be honest.
No, one day, inshallah, we'll meet up. I don't, you know, I was at JM, but you know, I'm not sure if you were there, but you know.
No, I couldn't come. I couldn't come to that session. Oh, okay. So ladies and gentlemen, JM is a Just Money group that I'm a part of. That it's just a lot of people that we just network with, and so because there are some people who aren't from that group. So JM just stands for Just Money, and we just talk about investments and trades and everything that's related to money. It could be about, you know, how to cut your bills, or you know, cut coupons, or should I invest in this, or should I buy shares of this or that or whatnot. So yeah, just for the people who aren't a part of that group, I just want to make sure that everybody knew what that was.
All right.
But it's certainly a pleasure to talk to you, though, Waqar. And I guess we could, you know, we do have to wrap this up, but I don't mind if you give me a call.
Okay,
absolutely.
So, yes, sir. I want to just respond also with what Waqar was saying, that options. So yeah, this is something also we have seen last month or a month and a half ago, when we offered this same class where we are trying to combining stock trading and options in one day, and most of the students came up and they say it's too much in one day, and that exactly this step we are taking right now, giving people a foundation, people who has some idea but not really good at the solid foundation. So Yasser is going to cover in people, we're going to take the people who has no background to at least give them some background, and then make your foundation a little bit stronger. And then when you go in options, we'll be touching in some level of options, basic in this class, but not any deep. It's just like giving you overview what option and all this you'll understand. So then there is a class. So what I know someone just mentioned, when Yasser is offering that class, we're going to talk about it during that time when that class is going to be offered. So it's going to become this way. We'll take the students who is already in this class and the students who showed interest, okay, I'm very good at stock, I don't need the foundation, then they can wait for that class. The standby, more announcement is going to come very soon.
Sure. So I saw that question by Razavi. So is your option class available? Yeah, the materials are ready, and I've taught it in the past, and it's about an 8-hour class. Obviously, we don't do it in one day, because you'll just be you'll go home after an hour and a half, and we don't want that. But yeah, the options class, yeah, well, again, like what Mushi mentioned, we'll have to see, you know, when everybody's available, and I'd love to teach options, especially if somebody else trades options on oil. they would be my new best friends. So sorry, Javed. I know Javed is still in this room. So he taught me how to trade options on oil, and it was quite remarkable. I'll just tell you briefly about that story. I was trading futures before, and I lost $3,000 and brought it back to life, and lost $3,000 again and brought it back to life again, and then lost $3,000 the third time. And Javed said, "All right, let's try to trade options." And thankfully, that was the first year I traded options on futures, and I was able to make that up again, but a little bit slowly, but it was far more consistent. And have I lost? Absolutely. So I don't want anyone to leave today thinking that I've done anything that was an absolute guarantee. But options was, I mentioned this earlier to Waqar, it is the hardest money that I've easily made. So it takes a lot. It does require a commitment. But once you get it, it's like pushing a rock. The most force is exerted at the beginning. But once you get it rolling, it just keeps going.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, sir. What I learned, I'm not a trader by profession, right? So, so I just do it because I just like to learn, like a chartist, or you're looking at 4 or 5 different screens and what's happening. Mastering means knowing that what's out there and what's your exposure, what's the notional, how the volatility works, what are the components and all that. That's basically basic. What Yasser is going to get you there in a few days after you take that course. But once you have that knowledge goes a long way, because then you can exercise that. And, I'm just telling you guys that lately in last 2 months or so, I've made more than 20% in only option trading. I'm not saying this because I'm trying to advertise something. It's just like, I got lucky on, as I said, always on the group, that I got lucky because I was always on the right side of the trade. But the good thing about option is you can hedge your bets. You can hedge your risk by buying lower puts or lower calls, or selling upper calls, or out of the money and in the money, and whatever you have to do, whatever your strategy is. So it's extremely important before you exercise that you need to know what's out there, how it's done, limit orders, how not to be greedy. And once you exercise that and practice it, it's fun. I like to see $500, $600 a week, additional amount of money in my bank account, because that goes a long way. So, enough said.
And unfortunately, some people don't even know what options are, but that's fine. Well, hopefully I'll touch upon that also on the 16th. All right. Was there any other questions? Oh, there was one more for you, Mushi, I guess. Can you go over the video on how to select the course? Yeah, I'm not sure what that's referring to. So I'll leave that question, that last question for Mushi.
So can you go over the video on how to select the course? I only see one 400 course, not the 512 weeks. Let me share my desktop. Just
I'm going to step away from the computer momentarily.
okay. Do you all see my desktop? I assume you see my desktop, right?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, awesome. So when you go on the Speak EQ, you click on this package. Right before we come in, I had the developer just take a look at them, make sure it's set up. So let me see. On this package, you see that first class is Intro to Investing is $100. Like if somebody wants to just only that day and just see how it's going to be, you can sign up that, and that class into $100 that. And the other class is like some of the people who already is saying, I want to have all those, then if 100, this second stock trading, that's the starting. So for class 3 to 12, all of them $400. So that's how it's $500. And the $10, it just becomes like the 510. But on this package, what we have done actually, so those are, you are already lucky. Like as I said that we initially, I had him asked him to make the $500 package, but he put it $400. So I'll honor that. I said that as I am watching it and some people already bought it. So we will honor that whatever it is, 400. And then we ask you, don't try to get too much, discount. You saw that I shared that discounted coupon. So whatever you can do, that at least people like Yasser, and then we have other costs involved. At least we can cover the cost and keep bringing these programs like this. That way in future, there is people like Yasser and other people from the community, they really came out, used their time, donated. And some of them did not need the money, but they said, hey, at least people should respect their time. So we're trying, we have seen other people, this type of things, they charge much higher price. So our goal is not, if somebody cannot even afford, you have financial difficulty, please do reach out to me. We will work out a deal with you, Our goal is not just like, hey, we have to sell all this. As you heard earlier, I mentioned, after taking care of our expense, some of the proceeds is going to be donated to a non-profit organization. Did that help answer the questions somebody was asking, Gibe? And then when you buy it, if you buy the whole package, just click on this one. Or if you want to go individual, you can go to class and you can buy the individual package. But the whole package is going to click add to, is going to take you add to cart and everything included for you. Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, sir. Thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to see you on March 16th. And meanwhile,
March 16th it is.
March
Good.
16th,
It was a
9
pleasure
o'clock.
talking to all of you guys. And thank you, and feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions. All righty?
Thanks, yes, sir. Thanks much.
Oh, my pleasure. All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So he has over 20 years of investment and trading experience in many areas, in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, currencies, you name it. You'll see that when he starts talking about it, he's very passionate about talking about those things, that what he does. So one of the things we asked many times, try to see if we can get someone who is in the teaching industry, and also this is something based on the feedback we got from our